right, what's up, Vox? How you guys doing? How are you guys tonight? Hey, if it's your first night here, welcome. My name's Andrew. And I get the honor and the privilege of starting our Christmas series, which is all about Advent. Get excited. That's right. I like it. So, if you guys don't know what Advent is, the word Advent means the arrival of someone, something, or an event that's happening. And we celebrate at this time of year the arrival of Jesus. Let's give a hand for Jesus. All right. It's something that we look forward to. Hey, it's also Christmas time soon, right? Aren't we all excited for Christmas? I'm very excited for Christmas. This is my favorite time of year. November, December, I love this time of year. I always have high hopes for it. You ever put your hopes in something that you thought was going to be really great? Anybody here ever been like, this is going to be awesome? And it turned out, though, to not be that great. Yes. I want to share with you guys a time that happened to me, actually. When I was in the 10th grade, it was around homecoming time. You guys just had that, right? You had homecoming. Did you guys have a great time at homecoming? Yeah? No? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't either, really, so it's okay. Anyways, so it was around homecoming, and there was this girl that I liked, all right? There was this girl who I was thinking about asking to homecoming. And I didn't know, though, if she would say yes or no, you know? So my friend, though, he hears me talking about it. He goes, yo, dude, I got third period with her. You want me to talk to her for you, get the lowdown, like find out what's going on? And right, fellas, that's always helpful, right? You got somebody kind of finding out for you. Hey, does she like me? Will she go out with me? Right? That's helpful. So I'm like, yeah, dude, go talk to her. Go find out. If you can in your class, just, don't make it obvious. Don't be a nerd about it, all right? Don't make it obvious, but let her know. Ask her if she would say yes if I asked her to homecoming, right? So he tells me that he did. So I see my friend, and he goes, yo, dude. She's all about it, man. She wants to go with you to homecoming. She's like, go ask her. She said yes for sure. I was like, yes. I was pumped. I was so excited. I was like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. All my hopes. I was so excited was for this. My hopes were in this. So I'm talking to her. I go find her. For the story's sake, we'll call her Lucy. Sorry if your name's Lucy, but I'm just going to call her Lucy. That wasn't her name, but we're going to call her Lucy for the story. So I went and I'm talking with Lucy, right? And, we're flirting, like, ha. We're flirting, doing that flirting thing, So we're talking, it's going well. And I say, hey, so I was wondering, hey, do you want to go with me to homecoming? Do you? And she goes, oh, no. And I was like, oh, okay. I was so confused. as to what happened. I'm like, wait, didn't you talk to my friend, though? I just put it all out there. Didn't you talk to my friend and the kind of hint that you wanted me to ask you out? And she goes, who? You didn't talk to him? She's like, no, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't talk to any of your friends about this. I'm like, oh, okay. So, well, that's cool. Why aren't you going with me? I'm going with somebody else. So that was a little bit of a relief. She was going with somebody else, but also a bummer for me. I go, okay, well, all right, I'm out. And I just awkwardly walked off, all right? And I went to my friend and I said, dude, what happened? Why would you tell me that she said yes? He goes, because she did. I talked to her, man. What are you talking about? You talked to Lucy, over there, that Lucy. He goes, oh, that Lucy. My bad. Dude, you're the worst wingman ever. Why would you do that? But I was so let down, right? I was so let down by the fact that my friend, first off, screwed everything up for me, made me look like a fool, but that she said no. I had hopes in that. I had a lot of hopes. We're going to be talking about that tonight, hope. The definition, according to Webster's, of hope is this: a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. I feel like the word hope, though, it gets kind of thrown around casually, right? Like, I hope the movie's good, or I hope I can get A's. I hope the girl says yes to me when I ask her to homecoming, right? It's thrown around kind of casually, and we end up putting our hopes in things that can kind of let us down at times. Things of this world. You guys said earlier, you've been let down, right? There's things in this world that we can put our hopes in, and can let us down. But what if I told you there's a hope in the Bible that never lets us down? It always comes through and fulfills its promises. If you look in the Bible, hope can pretty much be defined this way, okay? A confident expectation that something good will happen because it's based on God's promises, His character, and faithfulness. And this hope actually came down and lived on earth. Did you guys know that? Hope came down around 2,000 years ago and lived on earth. Let's go now in our Bibles to Luke chapter 2, and we can read about that hope. Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 6. This is Mary, talking about Mary and Joseph, and they're in a barn, got to put Jesus in a manger. It says this: while they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for him. So this hope, the Bible talks about, this hope is Jesus. Everybody say Jesus. Jesus' arrival was the arrival of hope. When I think back on the time period of my life where I put everything else, I had all my hope in, and I never had my hope in Jesus. I think about that time. I also think about a time where I was let down quite a bit. A time where I kind of felt unfulfilled by a lot of things. Always searching for something else. If I date this girl, I'll be happy. Or if I take this major in college, that'll set up my future. But I always found that I was still left sort of unfulfilled by these things. It wasn't enough. And then I met Jesus. And I gave my life to Him. And I put my hope in Jesus, and everything changed. Because, see, guys, when we put our hope in Jesus, hope becomes more than just a feeling or a desire. A feeling or desire for something to happen in the future. No, when our hope is in Jesus, hope becomes a person, Jesus. A hope that is alive, hope that is living, and a hope that is alive in us. Hope in Jesus means that we are no longer wondering if something good might happen in the future. No, when we have our hope in Jesus, we have a certainty that everything good He promised us will happen. That's the hope found in Jesus. It's a hope that brings contentment. It brings stableness to our life. Jesus is our living hope. Everybody say, Jesus is our living hope. With Jesus, we have the assurance in the promises of God. And this is a hope, though, that we have to have. We need this hope. I love the way that C.S. Lewis puts it in his books, Mere Christianity. He says this: hope is one of the theological virtues. This means that a continual looking to the eternal world is not a form of escapism or wishful thinking, but one of the things a Christian is meant to do. You guys are all getting ready for your futures right now. You're getting ready to go to college soon, some of you. Some of you are freshmen, sophomore. You're going to be doing that soon too, right? So that's why right now, it's so important that you guys understand what it means to put your hope in Jesus. Right now is the time where you say, okay, all my hope, Lord, is in you, Jesus. So tonight, I hope that if you haven't already put your hope in Jesus, that you would leave here ready to do so, because it's important. And Peter explains this in 1 Peter chapter 1. He explains how important it is and why we have hope in Jesus. If you'll go there now in your Bibles to 1 Peter 1, we're going to start in verse 3. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In His great mercy, He has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you. So our living hope, found through Jesus, through His resurrection, His death, His resurrection, right? What does that mean? Our salvation was given to us because He died. He died for our salvation. He paid the debt for our sins. And that salvation gave us a new birth or a new life, right? He saved us Salvation literally means rescued, right? So he saved us from eternal doom, from ruin, when he died for us on the cross. And that new life that he brings us, he's also our living hope in that life. Because of Jesus, we live a faithful life, not just because of what he did, but also because of what he is going to do. Because there's another advent that's going to be happening, guys, in the future, right? Jesus tells us he's coming back again. He's coming back. He's coming back with a new heaven, new earth, everything. That's the second advent coming. So we have to be ready for this. We have to know this. It's so important to know how to put your hope in Jesus. We put our hope in Jesus, and when we do this, that's how our lives reflect our faith. You guys know faith and hope, they're different things. I feel like they can get confused sometimes. They can get maybe conflated. They kind of mean the same thing, right? They're not the same thing, but they do depend on each other, if that makes sense. Because see, what is faith? Faith is putting what you believe into action. It's living out your belief. That's why we say you live with faith, right? What is hope? Hope is believing for something good to happen in the future. So we live with faith because we believe in the hope that Jesus provides us. But if we don't believe in that hope, if we don't believe that Jesus is going to do what he promised, then how can we ever live with faith? How can we live a life that's full of hope if we don't believe in what Jesus has told us for the future? Hope is believing the future expectations set by Jesus. And what is that future? All right, what is? Let's go to John 14. Now, when Jesus is talking to his disciples, I'll give you a second to go there. John 14, we're going to start in verse 1. Jesus says, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God and trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? When everything is ready, I will come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am." So he's telling his disciples, I am preparing a place for you. I'm preparing this place for you in heaven, and I'm going to return. Before that, though, he says, don't let your hearts be troubled. Let's be honest. Our hearts get troubled. We go through things. Our hearts get troubled while we are temporarily here waiting for eternity. In Revelation 22, Jesus just simply says, I am coming back soon. He gives no date. He doesn't give a time, a year, month, nothing. He just says, I am coming back soon. So we're told to wait here and wait for him to come back. And we're told to wait here in a culture of instant gratification, right? It's so easy to get what we want fast nowadays, right? We don't got to wait for it. We don't got to wait for lines at theme parks to get the express pass. We don't got to wait to get information, answers to whatever we need. We got Google in our pockets, right? We don't got to wait for our deliveries. Amazon Prime, if it's more than 2 days, I send it back. Every time. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. Anyways. But we don't like waiting for things. And when we have to wait for things, we can maybe get a little bit impatient at times. Impatience is a thing that sets in when we're waiting too long for something, right? The other day I was putting up some hardy board trim. You guys know what hardy board is? No, I didn't think so. The hardy board is not board; it's actual like cement. But it's in the shape of a board, and I'm holding it up, right? Because I'm doing it with small myself, so it's kind of heavy. It's like a 6-foot piece, and I'm on a 6-foot ladder. I'm holding it up, and I'm also drilling into the concrete to get it to hold up. I have a screw in my mouth like this, right? And I'm really straining hard, right? And all of a sudden I hear, "Daddy, I need more goldfish." I'm like, Bud, go ask your mom. Ask Mommy, she's inside. Go. I have, screws in my mouth. She's in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, give me a second. Fine. And then he goes and he leans on the ladder and kind of rocks it a little bit, and I almost fall. And I'm like, oh, I dropped everything. I'm like, stop! He goes, he's just shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Daddy. Right? We don't like waiting for stuff. We don't like having to wait for things. So naturally, when Jesus says, I'm coming back soon, and we realize we have to wait, our first question naturally is what? How long do we got to wait, Jesus? How long do we got to wait until you come back? I think the real question we should be asking is, instead of how long do we wait, Jesus, how do we wait? How do we wait with patience and faithfulness for you, God? How do we wait for something that we can't see, but it's technically kind of already here and established, right? Did you guys know that? There's this concept thought up by a theologian. I wrote his name down because I could barely pronounce it. It's a Princeton theologian. His name was Gerhardus Voss, and that's how you say it. I looked it up online to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly. So Gerhardus Voss, and he came up with this concept called the already but not yet. And it's the already not yet concept of the nature of God's kingdom. And what it means is that God's kingdom was already here. It came and it was established when Jesus was born. When he died on the cross, rose again, he was inaugurated as the King of Kings, right? We are now feeling the effects of that because we are under a new covenant, saved by grace, not by works. Now all Jews and Gentiles have access to God directly. So he was already established, but it's still yet to come because Jesus still has to come back and finish it. He has to complete the kingdom, bring down New Jerusalem, have new heaven, new earth, all of that stuff. But yet in the meantime, we're told in the Bible to fix our eyes on Jesus. We're told to think on things of above, set our minds on things of heaven. I don't know about you guys, but it's hard for me to focus on something that I can't see. I feel like that's a universal problem, right? Yeah. It's hard to focus on a future life that you can't see when you have this present life with all of these things happening in front of us that we can see. All of these things that are pulling our attention off of God. And they're not even necessarily bad things, right? They're not bad things necessarily that pull our attention from God. Take a look at this chart that I found when I was researching about what Gen Z thought what it meant to have a great life. This Gen Z, that's you guys, by the way. So you'll see all the things up there: making money to live comfortably, having time for your hobbies, having a good education, getting married or finding a life partner. That's up there. And right there, number 9, barely cracking the top 10. At about 35% of them thinking that it's important for their life to have a good future. It says, having a good spiritual and religious life. That's not even asking specifically about Jesus either. Think about that. Not even in the top 8, at least, Barely top 10. This chart consists of a bunch of things that aren't Jesus. Things that can provide hope. But these things also here can leave your faith broken. It can leave us empty, whether they fail or whether they come through, because they're not Jesus. There's hope that breaks faith. What are those things? Things like self-reliance. What else we got? What did I put? Self-interest. Oh, that was quick. It worked. Self-success. It didn't really, that wasn't a good foundation for those things, right? Those kinds of things can leave our faith broken. Have you ever heard somebody say, hey, just believe in yourself? You can do it. Very inspiring, right? Inspiring words. And yeah, God has given us all abilities, and he's given us all intelligence and creativity, right? But if we only rely on ourselves for things, we end up forgetting about the one who gave us those gifts. And we may end up reaching some level of success and thinking, this is not enough. Something is missing here. I was reading about Elon Musk the other day, and I find myself reading about him a lot lately. I don't know why. He's a very fascinating guy to me. But it was a story about Elon Musk that talked about a few years ago. He apparently up and sold all 7 of his properties. Multi-million dollar. You guys know Elon Musk, right? Billionaire. Richest man probably in the world, right? He sold all 7 of his multi-million dollar homes. Didn't need the money for it, obviously. He's got billions, right? And he bought a $50,000 box home off Amazon and lives in it on his SpaceX property, his company's property. And he didn't need the money, so everybody was so confused. And a reporter asked him, why did you do this? Why? He said, one word was his response: freedom. What do you need freedom for? You're the richest guy ever. You can get whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You can buy whatever you can buy freedom if you wanted to. We could reach a level of success and realize this isn't it. There's something more. This success has still left me empty. I was putting my hopes in the wrong thing. But then we end up also possibly reaching that achievement and realizing we need our hope in something else. And we put it in our goals, right? We put it in other goals, because the thing about success is that success is a moving target, right? When you graduate high school, what happens? You got to go to college now. Oh, got my degree. Okay, got to go get a job now. Got my job. Oh, how much are you paying me? Oh my gosh. I have to be here for how long till I reach this amount? Right? Success is a moving target. There's always another level, another peak you have to reach, or there's maybe somebody better and you just aren't good enough and fail in whatever area of success you're striving for. And like I said, we end up putting it in other things. We realize that we should have put our hope in something else, but sometimes we misplace it again, right? We misplace it again. I remember, I'm going to tell you guys a quick funny story about me. When I was like in my early 20s, I got to the point where I declared this. I declared it to myself and my family. I said, I am never getting married. I said it. I said, I'm never going to get married. I'm going to be single forever. I had just gotten out of a relationship with a girl who I thought maybe I might marry, okay? We dated for a while, but it did not end very well at all. And I was really scarred from it. I was messed up. I got to the point where I declared, I'm never going to get married. I'm going to be single forever. If I meet a girl who loves me, I hope she's cool with being my girlfriend forever. Oh. And they never are, fellas, just so you know. All right? But I put my hope in people. I put my hope in a relationship. That's another thing that can make our hope broken. When we put it in people, relationships, maybe the approval of other people, right? Oh, wow, that's a good one. And it breaks. Got it. That will leave our faith broken when we put our hopes in those things. I'm not saying it's bad. Relationships aren't bad. We want to feel connected to people. We want to have relationships. We want to have friendships, right? God made us for companionship. He made us for fellowship. But when we put our hope in people instead of God, we might find a few things happen. First off, we feel let down when they fail us. And it might not even be on purpose that they fail us. But it still leaves us hurt and empty. Another thing can happen too, like I said, we can become dependent on their approval, how much they like us, right? Social media thrives on this. Do you guys remember a day when there was no social media? Anybody? Besides the leaders? Oh, that's a long time ago. And social media, it thrives on being liked. Think about it. You put a post up. How many likes did you get? How many comments did you get? How many views? How popular are you is what it's basically asking. And it even keeps account so that everybody else can see how much you're liked. Think about this. It's even bled over. Being liked has bled over into how successful we are. Think about YouTube. How many views? How many likes? You get more ad money. The last question they'll ask is, what's your content? Oh, we don't care. You're liked. So here's some more money, right? These things are not what we find our hope in. One of the worst things that that can happen when we put our hope in ourselves or we put our hope in others is we can miss what God is teaching us. We can miss God's plan. When we're worried about what others think of us, we forget about the one who thinks the most of us. We forget about God and his plan and what he's trying to teach us. Because unlike people, God never fails us. And we can't expect people to fulfill us the way God can fulfill us. The only relationship and the only hope that we should have is in Jesus. Hope in Jesus will uphold our faith. It's not breaking. Hope in Jesus holds up all of our faith. Hope in Jesus will never break our faith. It will never leave us feeling empty. Hope in Jesus validates us. It affirms our faith. So we talked about the stuff that's bad, that isn't that bad, kind of some good stuff, right? That can break our hope, break our faith. But what about the bad stuff that happens? When we're struggling, when we're suffering, how do we continually put our hope in Jesus when bad stuff is happening? Think of it this way. Think of your struggles not as opposition. Think of your struggles as opportunities. Think of it as opportunities to be faithful. Think of it as opportunities to be obedient. Everybody say opportunities. Our struggles are opportunities for us to share the gospel. Our struggles are opportunities to be what Jesus told us to be, which is a light to the world. Our hope in Jesus is a light for others. A little more. Our hope in Jesus is a light that can shine for others. This light represents the hope that we have in Jesus. And this light here helps us realize there's a reason for the struggle. Let's go to 1 Peter 1. Starting in verses 6 and 7, Peter writes this time though NLT. It says, "So be truly glad. This is a wonderful joy. There is wonderful joy ahead. Even though you must endure many trials for a little while, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. And though your faith is far more precious than mere gold, so when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the world." Rejoice in the struggle, because we're not just going through it. No, God is growing us through it. God is purifying us. He's testing our faith. He's growing us in obedience. He's growing us in faith. He's growing us in peace, in love, in joy. He's cultivating patience, peace, joy, faithfulness, all of that in us when we're going through our struggles. He strengthens our hope, which brightens our faith, which shines for others to see. This hope is a light that can guide us through this temporal life while keeping us anchored in the promise of eternal life that he gave us. This hope, it means we're not defined by disappointment. We're not defined by struggle. We're not defined by failures. We're not defined by any sort of past trauma we've gone through. This hope is not that. This hope is a light for others. This hope right here, it says your story is a light for someone. It says your testimony is a light for someone to hear. This light, this hope in Jesus is hope for others. It's a light to those who are going through dark times, who are struggling. Imagine a world where in 1 John 1:7, we live that out, where it says, we walk in the light as Jesus was in the light. Therefore, we have fellowship with Jesus. We have fellowship with others. Imagine if we held nothing back. We lived our life with faith that was full of hope. Jesus said in John 10, verse 10, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. That full life is not found in anything else. That full life is found in Jesus. Jesus never said that we wouldn't go through struggles. He never said that we wouldn't go through disappointments, but he did promise us that he would never disappoint us. He never said we wouldn't experience darkness, but he did promise to be a light for us, to be with us through those times where we felt alone, where we felt darkness, where the things of this world were weighing us down. That's what Jesus' hope is for us. He brings peace in chaos. He brings strength in our weakness. He is our living hope.